Today, I have the pleasure of welcoming Alpha Sow, the founder and CEO of PrimeGear Maintenance. Originally from Guinea and shaped by experience in both African and the United States, Alpha has forged a unique path as an entrepreneur dedicated to transforming technical services for medical and laboratory equipment across the African continent. With a vision to empower local talent and build trust in the region, Alpha has led PrimeGear Maintenance from early beginnings to growing presence in countries such as Senegal and Morocco. His journey is marked by resilience, a commitment to innovation, especially through the integration of AI and predictive maintenance, and a deep belief in the potential of African professionals to lead and excel in technical fields. Through PrimeGear, Alpha aims not only to deliver high-quality service, but also to open doors for a new generation of African experts. Today, he will share with us his personal story, his ambition from PrimeGear, and his perspective on the challenges and opportunities of building sustainable, local-driven business in Africa's dynamic market. Hi, Alpha. How are you?
I'm doing well, Gertrude. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I'm really honored to have you here with me today for this new episode of Kalstein Voices.
It is an honor to be with Kalstein Voice for this interview. Thank you for having me.
Well, let's dive into first. Could you start by telling us about growing up in Guinea and your time in the United States?
I grew up in Guinea in West Africa in a family that's always believed in education, hard work, and community. Coming from West Africa to the United States, that exposed me to completely different pace of innovation and structure. As you know, it's different, but it also sharpened my understanding of what Africa is capable of when the right systems and opportunities are in place. Living between both worlds shaped my entrepreneurship mindset. Africa has the potential, the people, and the demand. Additionally, and the US has taught me the discipline, planning, and execution needed to be able to build something that will last for a long time.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that you have this view also on empowering African in technologies field. Was there a defining moment that made you decide to found Prime Gear Maintenance? Or and also what did that moment teach you about business and leadership?
Yes, that's a good question. Really, the defining moment was seeing hospitals and clinics in specifically in West Africa with great equipment that wasn't functioning because of poor maintenance or lack of technical support. Previously, I was working for an organization in Washington, D.C., where we were working with the Malian government, and they were, they were having issues with, just getting a simple maintenance for some of their lab equipment. So that really, gave me the idea for Prime Gear Maintenance. Like a single broken configurator or incubator could stop an entire lab. I realized equipment is only as good as the team that is maintaining it. That's when Prime Gear was born. A company that doesn't just deliver equipment, but also ensures that the equipment stays operational, reliable, and impactful for long term.
So you really find this breach, let's say, and then you wanted to find a solution to help others. It's really um it's an act of altruism.
Effectively.
And what guiding values or philosophy do you rely on as a leader in dealing with unique challenges of building a company in Africa?
Really, three basic foundations for me is integrity, accountability, and service. Africa is not an easy environment to build in. You face regulatory barriers, skepticism, and resource gaps. The only way forward is to stay really consistent, communicate clearly, and always deliver what you promise to people. My leadership is really grounded on in the belief that every challenge is an opportunity and every obstacle is a chance to be able to innovate.
Interesting. And going back to your company's earliest day, Is there one story that best captures the spirit of resilience and also innovation that you bringing into this field?
Yes, really in the beginning, in our early days, we had a client whose lab was down because of a critical device that has failed at the lab. No one locally could repair it. Instead of waiting, we were able to get someone that was located in South Africa and get to source the parts ourselves and restore the equipment within 48 hours. That moment, honestly, I would say would define our identity. We're not just a maintenance company. We are problem solvers who show up even when the solution requires going the extra mile for our customers.
Yeah, it's a partnership at some point, and I was thinking because you mentioned skepticism. How do you build trust and credibility in African markets, especially where there may be, as you said, skepticism towards new or foreign-led ventures?
Having really the language and working in West Africa really does help a lot, and also growing up in this continent, so that does go a long way for our customers and for our company.
Good, I understand. And what obstacles surprise you most when entering African markets regulatory? Is it like, could it be like logistically or even regarding the culture? Because even though I know that you were born in Guinea and you grew up also at some part in there, how did
Yeah,
you adapt to overcome it?
and the culture is a big part of it. I would definitely say that would be the big part of it, and also being the regulatory aspect of things. As you know, with the U.S. having different regulatory arrangements than what we have here in Africa.
Hmm, I see, interesting. And what difference does having a local presence and engaging directly on the ground make for your business model in Africa?
Um, Everything, honestly. Equipment needs maintenance, calibration, troubleshooting, and real-time support. Being on the ground means faster response time, better relationships, and a deep understanding of our clients' needs. You cannot really serve Africa remotely. You must be physically present in the continent.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And I've done some research. The predictive maintenance market in the Middle East and also Africa is projected to grow significantly. How do you see this trend affecting Prime Gear, and how are you positioning the company to benefit?
I would say really having partnership with different vendors and um, different lab maintenance. It would be it's tied as a company that is powerful blend of international technology with local capacity. Through these partnership, we strengthen technical expertise, build strong client relations, and demonstrate that we can deliver consistent service in a complex environment.
So about being able to reply to the demand with even in complex situation, as you said, given that service quality and also trust, how do you how do you process to for Prime Gear to also meet the high standards and build its reputation?
For instance, for me to be able to attend the summit in Guinea last week, Transform Africa, was a big help for that. Being able to meet with different leaders and being able to network in that environment does set up Prime Gear well in the near future and in the long run.
How was this event, by the way?
It was great. It was great. Met a lot of people, met a lot of connections, and these connections, I know that they will be able to help us, as a company and also as a region to be able to grow in the field of maintenance.
Interesting. Great for you. And Prime Gear has grown through partnership in Morocco and Senegal. What role have those relationships played in shaping your journey?
Um, It's big because before coming here, it was a bit difficult to be able to, really build that partnership. But as I mentioned, having being on the ground makes a big difference. So that has helped us tremendously.
Yeah, great. And what lesson have you drawn from working with both international and local partners? And how are these lessons influencing your future strategy also?
International partners teach us really structures and global standards. Local on the local partner side of things, teach us adaptation and cultural intelligence. PrimeGear's strategy is to build from both. We bring both the global on best practices, but deliver them in a way that respects the local realities on the ground.
And how do you see Prime Years evolving with such a strategy in the next 5 years?
That's a good question, Gertrude. I would say, we really try to aim to become a leading regional hub for biomedical maintenance, technical support, AI-based monitoring, and equipment distribution. We really want Prime Gear to be the company that hospitals and labs call first, because we know we are reliable, we are fast, and we are committed to impact.
Because we talked a lot about AI lately and the evolving situation with how AI is also boosting companies. Yeah.
Yes, that is true. With artificial intelligence, we collect performance data from equipment. Runtime would be output quality, environment conditions, and the use of AI models to predict failures before they even happen. This reduces really a lot of downtime, save costs for our customers, which is really important as well, and improve the lifespan of equipment. Additionally, to that, the summit that I attended in Conakry
Mhm.
highlighted how AI and smart technology will drive Africa's next chapter. But almost every minister and expert said the same thing. Without strong maintenance and data reliability,
Yeah.
I won't deliver value. That's exactly where Prime Gear is ahead. We're building predictive maintenance system that match Africa's realities here on the ground.
Very interesting because in Europe it's really like the run, the competition who's going to be the first biggest and best in AI. And how do you see also this competition in Africa? Because it's still also processing and implementing. So how do you see in the markets the evolution of technology?
Yes, that's true. That is true. Everyone is trying to be the best and the first to be able to, make the most advanced AI, system. What I've really learned and what have opened my eyes during this summit is just that Africa is not as far behind as I would have thought. We are ahead, and having these summits does provide opportunities for not just me, but a lot of entrepreneurs in the continent.
I see. And how do you ensure your services go beyond technical delivery and contribute to the broader development of local talent and capacity?
Every job is a training opportunity, I would say. Our technicians learn on site, take specialized courses, and interact with international engineers. The goal is really to grow a generation of African biomedical professionals to be able to do this in the future when we're all long gone.
Very, very, very nice. Do you have a mentors or role models who have shaped your leadership style or business philosophy?
Um, yes, my number one, my mentors are my, parents. I've always been inspired by leaders who combine discipline with service and people who build for impact, not just for profit. Their examples taught me to lead with purpose, humility, and long-term vision. Having my mom previously worked as a nurse, and my dad served for the Guinean army, so it combines all of those for me. When I was growing up, when I was in Guinea for the summit, I spoke with a few young innovators who were hungry but lacked the opportunities. That really inspired me, and it motivated my advice to the next generation. Don't wait for infrastructure to be perfect, to be able to build solutions based on problems that are in front of you right now.
Wow, that's very inspiring. Very inspiring lesson also to thought to others. And what is the greatest lesson you've learned since founding PrimeGear, especially in the context of African entrepreneurship?
Patience and resilience. Africa rewards those who stay consistent. As I mentioned earlier during our interview here, you must build relationships, understand their environment, and be ready to adapt every single day in every single situation.
Mm. And for young Africans aspiring to work also in technical or entrepreneurial fields, what advice would you give based on your journey or yeah.
Just based on my young journey, I would say really to start small, stay consistent, learn continuously, and don't fear failure. If you failed and you have to get back up, the continent is full of opportunity. That's what's missing is execution. Focus on solving real problems and not just launching ideas, but being able to continuously also learn on those failed aspect that was put in front of you before.
Well, good advice, and I hope they will be all written by those generations.
Really.
What are the next major projects or ambitions for Prime Gear Maintenance?
After attending the summit, it's just really expanding our AI-based maintenance platform, growing into new markets like Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, and building a regional training center for biomedical technicians.
Mhm.
Um, Transform Africa made it clear that Africa's next decade will be built on connectivity, smart system, and local empowerment. With Prime Gear is positioning itself at the heart of that movement, aligning maintenance, technology, and capacity building into one ecosystem.
Very good. So we should expect Prime Gear to be above the leaders for the next generation, for the next years to come.
Absolutely.
And if you had to summarize Prime Gear's mission for the next decade in one sentence, what would it be?
In one sentence, that is a bit tough, but I would say really to make reliable medical technology accessible, supported, and suitable across the whole continent, and not just the West, not just West Africa.
Well, those are really great words to end with. Thank you very much for this inspiring and motivational words that you're bringing us to our Kalstein Voices community. It was really a pleasure to have you in this new episode of Kalstein Voices. Thank you, Alpha. I wish you a lot for what's next to come for Prime Gear's maintenance. I'm eager to see what's going to be the future of technical and innovation in Africa with your company.
Thank you again. Thank you again, Gertrude and Kalstein Voices, for your time to having me. And I'm hope this interview is able to reach a lot of young minds in there and be able to inspire not just people in my generation, but the next generation or even the generation before me as well. Thank you for your time.
I hope to. I wish you the best for what's next to come.
Thank you.